All right, Jose. So, contrary to popular belief, those raindrops weren't actually rain. They were, in fact, Niners fans' tears coming out of this game or whatever. It is a bad game. I'm mad. Like the play calling was all over the place. Obviously, the elements weren't in our favor. And the end result is obviously the Colts walking away with a 30-18 victory when we were coming off the bye. We're now 0-3 at home. I don't even know what to make of this team anymore. You know, the sad part is there's still that little bit of hope too, just because the NFC playoff picture is so bad. But I can't even focus on that one. Hell, the team is just lucky to win a game. We're going, full Jim Mora with it. We just need to win a game at this point.
I'm right there with you. I'm pretty upset about this, how this ended up turning out, especially because of how good the team started. On offense, Lyson Mitchell was really running all over that. Indianapolis defense got off to that early 9-0 lead. Everything was looking good, right? Everything was looking like the Niners were on their way to finally get a home victory, which is another thing as well. The one time where it seems like we could possibly have a home victory here against Indianapolis, but then the rain was just unbelievable. And that's not really an excuse because, Indianapolis had to deal with the rain as well. It wasn't comfortable conditions for any team, but it's just disappointing seeing them get off to a 2-4 start. We did not expect that at all whatsoever for these first 6 games of the year. But looking into next week, at least we don't play at Levi Stadium.
Right? At this point, how can I have any confidence in us having a home game? Every home game feels like a away game, regardless of the composition of fans in there. And I obviously saw, and I don't blame Niners fans for having to sell their tickets at the game because of the weather conditions, everything like that. I understand that one. But man, if you heard the boo birds come out too. When do we ever hear boo birds come out at a Niners home game? That was something that I think is a good barometer to how fans are feeling about this season. And yeah, we came into it with a lot of optimism, at least, talk about like maybe a 10-win team at minimum, 9, 10, 11 wins. No, that sounds like completely unattainable at this point. At this point, I'm lucky if we finish with an 8-9 season, just based on how the team is playing. Now the injuries again are continuing to mount up. This game somehow, again, coming off a bye, you expect to be healthier. How do we get more injured coming off a bye? How is it that Trent Williams suddenly is not ready for this game after having 2 weeks to prepare? How is it that Javon Kinlaw needs to go on IR after having 2 more weeks? Brandon Ayuk, I was expecting this game to be the big Ayuk show out performance. And yes, again, weather, I still wanted to see something from Brandon Ayuk. The most we saw was him kicking that ball into the end zone. That touchback play. Here's something good. Nick Bosa, high motor, high intensity, like what he was doing throughout the game. The defensive backfield, just all of them. I'm so through with this. Every single time I look up, I feel like I got to see some yellow on the field, a DPI call. We're far and away leading the NFL in that call. And if you're another team, just throw it up. The Niners will legitimately foul you on any deep pass. It's gotten to the point where it doesn't matter whether it's Norman, Lenore, Mosley, Tart, Ward. They're all just running through guys. And at the end there, on that Michael Pittman touchdown, because we're just jumping on here right away after this game came to an end. It's like Kirkpatrick just kind of, I don't even know, gave up on it, didn't read it right. I know he just came into the game because E-Man got hurt, but come on, man. You gotta make a little better attempt at that ball. Now I wonder if they're legitimately scared to go up there and pursue the ball. If they're legitimately scared to ball hawk it because they're like, oh man, am I going to come in with another DPI? And again, this all comes back to Shanahan, man. I know we went in, we're like, can he go another year? But it feels like we're in a spiral, man. And something needs to change. Some sort of composition on the team needs to change. The problem is now you have this rookie quarterback that they just drafted that you would think you got to surround him with an offensive coach. You want to build that continuity between coach and quarterback. I'm so worried about spinning our wheels into the ground on this one with Kyle Shanahan. I'm starting to think that he's just not the coach. We're 5 years in, man. And the best thing we got from this Shanahan regime, as we talked about it last week after the recording, I think the best thing we have is the hat. We actually saw the red hat make a comeback. That was something to talk about. Hey, red hat. That's a cool thing. if we would have won this game, I would have legitimately said the only reason we won this game was the return of the red trucker hat. I think that combination of good juju was the ultimate addition to our team. I don't know, man.
No, yeah, definitely. I think once I saw him coming out with the red trucker hat, I was like, oh, this is the game. I mean, all right, but not even the red trucker hat could save us from this game. And you mentioned the secondary and those defensive backs. I mean, at some point, just turn around. You don't even have to make a play on the ball; just literally turn around. And the ball was hitting them literally on the back.
Who was it that committed that like fourth one or that last one there? That it was like one of the most egregious that the guy just literally ran through him. Was that Tart?
But that was Tart. That was Tart's one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he just literally just ran through him. He didn't even try to look back. Didn't even try to at least, just get in the way, but don't grab the guy. He literally just grabbed him and pushed him down to the ground and didn't even bother to make a play on the ball.
Normally, defensive players throw their hands up like, it was me. That was like, Tart was just like, yeah, I did it on purpose almost.
Yeah, and that's what it seemed like, right? It seemed like they were so scared of Indianapolis getting that big play, but in return, I mean, that's the same. It's just the same. That's the same result, right? Like even if they don't complete it, they're getting the ball. It's a spot foul. So that was pretty frustrating to see. And then you saw, of course, you mentioned, of course, Kirkpatrick there. I mean, whenever I first saw the play develop and I saw him back there and he was trying to read the ball, I was like, oh my gosh, that could be a pick, and we could take it back the other way. And he just whiffed. I'm not even sure what he was trying to do, to be honest. It seemed like he was trying to make up his mind of whether to go up in the air to contest that against Pittman or to just try to hit him and kind of derail him from catching that ball. Whatever he did, it just did not flat out work. And he just got made look silly, honestly.
If you at least go up in the air at it, you're making an attempt on the ball, which is at least different from the other bad ones where it just seemed like they were just tackling the dude. So like the ref would understand you're trying to make a play at the ball. At least, we would understand like basic referees, and then holding calls. And, it just, again, going back to Kyle here, like there was those two drives, really just two drives in the entire game in which our offense looked competent there. The first drive out the gate, and then that little 2-minute 3-play drive where it just seemed like we had Jimmy on the boot. We had Jimmy rolling out, play action, and everything was money. Where was that part of the playbook? Why couldn't we see more of that? That's what I meant, like inconsistent play calling. It's just like, how do we not keep that same energy going into the next series? It seems like we went into that next series and wanted to almost do the same thing we were doing beforehand.
Right. And also, why did we abandon the running game so quick? I mean, you mentioned whenever with Jonathan Taylor fumbled the ball and we got it back, it was 3 straight passing plays. And we were in a really good position to score there. And I just think the play calling needs to get better. That's the number one thing. That's what saves the season. Kyle Shanahan, his staff, D'Amico Ryans, everybody in that coaching staff just needs to coach better. That will help the team immensely here going forward. Whether or not that will happen, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But it is frustrating to see that because this whole time, even like before this season, we were just thinking of Kyle Shanahan, this mastermind, this guy that could get any wide receiver open. It didn't matter the talent level of the guys that he had there. His scheming, his plays were just get people open, and we're just not seeing that at all. It's our offense is basically throw it up to Deebo Samuel and let him make a play. And that's what ultimately, caused that interception. The last Jimmy, the one before the last one, where we were just trying to force things to Deebo because that's all we have on offense, really. When the running game isn't working, and it was working most of the time today, I don't know why we just didn't go to it a little bit more. But when we don't have that explosiveness from anywhere else except Deebo Samuel, it's going to be so hard because teams are just going to basically zero in on this guy and double cover him, and he'll still find ways to get open, but something's got to change. The play calling, I think, is number one, though. I think I'm with you on that one, that the play calling has to change, and we'll see if it will or not.
And remember that stat that Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth brought up about Deebo, that he is accounting for about 43% of our passing volume. And Deebo's great. Deebo's fantastic. Don't get me wrong. I want the ball in Deebo's hands, but that is an egregious overuse on any offense. I mean, where are these guys? Where are Trent Sherfield? Where are Ayuk? Where are Mohamed Sanu's involvement in the offense? Where's like a pass catching running back out of the backfield that could do something with the ball? It really is starting to turn into just the San Francisco Deebo Samuels, because he's really just the only one that's generating anything for our team. And that's also saying we're putting a lot of weight on a guy with an injury history. What happens with Deebo's out? Who steps up then? I think that this team just has so many issues that they just need to iron out before this next game in Chicago. So you got to go on the road in Chicago. Who's getting the start at quarterback, I guess, is the question.
I think Jimmy is still going to get the start here. I mean, Trey, for what it's worth, I know Trey Lance didn't look great in his first game, but I think this game with the weather and the way the game kind of played out, I think would have benefited Trey Lance a little bit more, just because his athleticism would have been able to, extend plays, kind of like how Carson Wentz did there a couple of times. He actually got the ball. They kept the ball in his hands and he was able to make plays. I think Trey Lance in this game could have possibly made a difference, but I still think he goes with Jimmy Garoppolo. And then if the offense still looks dead, like in that first half, like if they come out completely anemic and just nothing's really working on the offensive side of the ball, I think he'll probably pull the trigger and bring out Trey Lance for the second half.
Okay, well, we could gripe on it some more, or we could just like call it a day and try and move on. So Niners faithful, let us know your disappointment. Drop that below in the comments. Leave a like on this video, subscribe, all that good stuff. Juju Talk Sports, Jose Corral. We'll see you next time, hopefully with less disappointment.